Good afternoon. Welcome to the Fall 2020 virtual commencement of the College of St. Scholastica. I am Ryan Sandifer, Vice President for Academic Affairs. This is an important celebration of academic success, and it marks an important milestone in our academic year. We would like to acknowledge the original people's land that hosts us today. Please stand as you are able for performance by Jeremy Wilson and his son Jacob, who will perform the honor song. Please remain standing, face the flag, remove your hats, and join in singing America the Beautiful, arranged by Carl Straumann and Michael Buck, performed by the College of St. Scholastica's Jazz Band and String Orchestra. Thank you. And now we will have an invocation from Sister Kathleen Del Monte, Associate Vice President of Mission Integration. Sister Kathleen.
Let us pray. Spirit of life, source of boundless compassion, as we begin our celebration of this most important milestone in the lives of our students, we give you thanks for your great goodness. For friends, family, staff, faculty, and all who have believed in and journeyed with our graduates, supporting them and challenging them to greatness. For our rich Benedictine legacy that has gifted us with the core values which animate our lives. For our graduates who have traveled far, overcoming many hardships to realize their dreams. May they always know the sacred being they are, and that you are their source and summit. Grant them strength and encouragement as they continue to grow into the fullness that you have dreamed for them. May they know, O God, that you walk beside them always, and may they always remember that they have our love and our support. As tomorrow's leaders, may they lead with passion, imagination, creativity, being that beacon of hope and of promise as they continue to build a world of justice and peace. And may they, and we who share in the joy of their accomplishments, always be enveloped in love, protected from harm, and live every day in mercy and compassion. We make this prayer through you who sustain us in all things, our Creator, Redeemer, and Sanctifier. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Kathleen. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Sparby, a 1976 alum and chair of the Board of Trustees. David?
Thank you, Dr. Sandifer. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the College of St. Scholastica, it's my honor to welcome all of you graduates and your guests. Commencement's a very special occasion and the most important ceremony in the life of the college. It's also a significant moment for you and your loved ones. Today is a time to reflect on all of the challenges you've had to overcome to reach this milestone, and an opportunity to reflect on the journey ahead. Most of all, it's time to celebrate and to thank all of those who've helped you get to where you are today. Your hard-earned degree is a privilege that will allow you to progress in your professional pursuits, but also a responsibility to be leaders in your communities and to model our Catholic Benedictine values. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated, "Intelligence plus character is the true goal of education." I know you have all gained both intelligence and character during your time at St. Scholastica. I look forward to seeing how each of you will help make our world a better place in the years ahead. Once again, welcome to our commencement ceremony. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Barbara McDonald, the 13th president of the College of St. Scholastica. President McDonald.
Thank you, Chair Sparby. Congratulations, graduates, and welcome, family and friends. What a great joy and privilege it is for me to be joining you virtually today. Commencement is the most meaningful and celebratory event in the life of the college. It is my great honor to personally congratulate each of you, both our spring and fall 2020 graduates, as you receive your diplomas. When you set out on your journey, you joined a community committed to academic excellence and rooted in Benedictine values. You freely stepped out of your comfort zone to engage in some of the most challenging and meaningful experiences of your life. Your journey has not been an easy one, especially over the past many months of the COVID pandemic, which has impacted every aspect of our lives. Throughout this unprecedented time, as well as your years leading up to this occasion, you have shown perseverance and the Saints' can-do attitude to achieve your academic goals. Many of you did this while juggling jobs, family obligations, service to your communities, and countless other responsibilities competing for your attention. And most recently, you have persevered through new ways of learning. Today, all your sacrifices and hard work are paying off. Along with honoring all you have achieved and celebrating the promise of all you will accomplish in the future, this day also invites us to reflect on what sets you apart from the thousands of others who will also be awarded degrees this year. So what does it mean to be a graduate of the College of St. Scholastica, and what does it mean to be a saint? You have been part of a special educational community, one that recognizes each student as a person of unique and immeasurable worth, that your distinctive personhood and your gifts are to be fostered because they are of value to all of us. They are of importance to the common good. With this in mind, we strive to educate the whole person. We use the Latin phrase, cor et anima, which means heart and soul. The College of St. Scholastica has, from its founding more than a century ago, been faithful to a vision of sending forth graduates to serve and transform the world. You will now be joining these ranks of distinguished alumni, empowered and enlightened by all what you have experienced at the College of St. Scholastica. You are well prepared to make a difference in the communities that you will become part of in the future. The Benedictine values that you have been steeped in during your years at St. Scholastica will not only guide you, but will set you apart. Most of all, be eager to use the power of your education to serve those who are powerless and those suffering injustices. As the Gospel of Luke tells us, to whom much is given, much will be required. So on behalf of the Sisters of the St. Scholastica Monastery and the faculty and staff of the college and our Board of Trustees, congratulations to you all. Best wishes for a fulfilling, meaningful career and a joyful, rewarding future. It is now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Marcy Stenke, who personifies the values we hold so dear. Marcy Stenke is principal at MRC Strategic Consulting and Advocacy, focusing on national security, space, and AI/ML information issues. Previously, she served as corporate officer and senior vice president of government relations and public policy at Maxar. Marcy is a retired U.S. Air Force colonel and combat pilot with 25 years of Department of Defense experience, with 100 combat missions and various deployments worldwide. She served both Presidents Bush and Obama as director of the White House operations, responsible for the Presidential Emergency Operations Center and airlift operations. She also served as Director of Congressional Legislative Affairs for the Chairman and the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Marcy has served our nation in support of operation in all 7 continents. She holds a Bachelor in Science in Nursing from the College of St. Scholastica and an MBA in Health Service Administration from Arizona State University. Marcy lives in Washington, D.C. and Arizona, where she enjoys hiking, flying, painting, and fly fishing. Please join me in welcoming Marcy Stenke.
Thank you, President McDonald. To the Board of Trustees, faculty, and proud parents, and a great big hello to the class of 2020, all 1,437 of you. I am deeply moved and honored to be able to speak to you today. Given the physical separation, I sure hope you feel the sincerity of my gratitude at being asked to speak with you. President McDonald, your sheer wisdom in thinking of me as a speaker is questionable. I'm quite certain if you had asked my classmates at Scholastica, they would truly wonder what you were thinking. Please know that I consider this a defining milestone and one of my greatest experiences. So I've got about 7 to 10 minutes to impart some life-altering, unforgettable tidbits of brilliance that you continuously refer to for the next 50 years of your life. So as I went forward, I thought back to my graduation from Scholastica 35 years ago, which is crazy to say. My most distinct memory of the ceremony was being walked or led into the arena by bagpipers. And then I thought about the specific memories of the speaker, and I hold no specific memories, absolutely no recollection whatsoever of who the speaker was or what they said. So the bar is fairly low. I have no delusions or fear that I may actually inadvertently influence you, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Real quickly, insight into my path and where I'm coming from. And when I was in 6th grade, we were out at the Air Force Academy, and I had a revelation that I wanted to be a pilot. And so that was the plan. And even although, oddly enough, at the time of my revelation, way back in 6th grade, women were not allowed to fly, nor were they allowed to attend the military academies at that point. Fortunately, things change, and I spent about nearly 26 years in the Air Force. I was a nurse turned pilot, had very interesting experiences both on the combat and the humanitarian mission side of things. I spent 5 years in the Pentagon and basically doing congressional liaison, first for the Air Force staff, and then the top military leaders, the chairman and the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I went from there to the White House, where I served 2 presidents as the head of operations, and I was specifically selected to be there through the transition of the administrations. So my position, part of the position, was to monitor continuity of government, given the events that occur every 4th, 20th of January, which is a very interesting day for our nation. I went from there into industry, and I ended up being in the corporate executive team of a space and information company. Great experiences, lots of engagement with both government and commercial realm. So I guess with that, I hope that you all enjoy the opportunities that come your way as much as I have. It's not surprising that I would look through things through a fairly thick lens of national security and sustainability as I look at issues. I've been asked to talk about insights and leadership, and so I will happily share some of the insights that I have gained through mistakes and observations along the way. I distinctly believe that leadership is not management. I also believe that there are critical components that impact much of your life, and although they may fall into the common sense category, I also believe they're worth taking a few moments to talk about. Some I will harp on very diligently. There are important aspects of leadership as you plow forth into this next phase of your life. I think 2020 is a phenomenal example of the need to be able to flex and adjust to changes in your environment. Although I don't want to focus on COVID heavily for this discussion that we're going to have, I'd rather look at the long view of things. It is a phenomenal example of why you need to be able to do that. I also think that where you think you're going to end up is highly unlikely as to where you actually end up. I can promise you that when I was in your place, I never thought I'd be briefing the Vice President of the United States. I didn't think I'd be having conversations with the President on Air Force One. So I want you to be able to get to where it is you want to go. I think it's, we all want to change the world, and that's great. But you can change the world by changing the life of one person. And so, whether you become the president of the universe someday, or you truly change the life of one person for the better, you've changed the world. So to get there, what are we going to do? I truly believe in finding something you're passionate about. Not everybody has this luxury, but I would suggest that you put some real effort into thinking about what that passion is and follow your gut. It may take some time to develop what you consider to be a reliable gut, but I will say that over the years, the few times that I followed what someone else suggested as opposed to what I was feeling, I got bit a few times. So you need to determine the critical aspects of what brings you joy, what brings you fulfillment. For me, I have learned over the years that it is very much mission and team. Fortunately for me, the flying realm had huge components of both of those. There also was a significant component in the international exploration that I was afforded. I've had operations on all 7 continents, a year in Africa, those kinds of things. One thing that I would like for you to kind of adopt, I learned this between high school and college. I never want to say what if. I'm always going to try. If there's something that you think you're interested in, do not hold yourself back. You go for it. The worst thing that happens is it doesn't happen for you, and you're no worse off than if you hadn't tried. One of the people that I'm reminded of when I think about this is Sister Mary Odell Cahoon, who is an instructor at Scholastica. For those of you who don't know, she passed in 2011. But this woman was one of the first women to winter on the South Pole in Antarctica in 1974. I was there in 2006, and it was a feat. So to imagine her being there for 9 months in 1974, that is amazing. She was doing some study of marine biology and cold weather, but that's a big feat. So I guess the real question you need to ask yourself is, what are you willing to sweat long and hard for? Becoming a pilot was really important to me. It was a highly unlikely process, but I had worked hard. I had done well. Don't shy away from 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days. The number of years, frankly, that I've worked those kind of hours. But depending on what your world is like, it may be necessary. I think it's also as important to learn how you want to be a leader, but equally as important is what you don't want to be in a leader. And sadly, you probably will see examples of that as you go forward. Don't let fear guide your decisions, and don't let fear prevent you from making a decision. There was a time when to say this quickly, I was choosing between something that would probably more likely get me promoted, but I wouldn't be as credible a pilot. And so I chose that I would rather be a credible pilot, and the promotion may or may not follow. Fortunately for me, it did, but determine what are the important things for you. At some point, you're going to need to recalculate, find a new territory, break new ground. It happens. I'm there now, actually. And so it can be exciting if you've set yourself up well for experiences. Another really important aspect to me is camaraderie and team. And I truly believe that if you're pulling together with a group and you accomplish something, whether that's a small group, it's something in your neighborhood, it's something on a national level, or even as we are today globally, that unity can be so fulfilling, and not to mention fun, although obviously the events of this year have not been fun. I spoke to I have a few godchildren, and I have shared my wisdoms with them throughout the years. It's become a running joke. They're either collegiate level or older now. And so I asked a few of them what are some of the long enduring wisdoms of Marcy that they remember. And a lot of it is stuff that I'm sharing with you now, but a couple of the other aspects are one of the guys said posture. You're always correcting our posture and how we have eye contact. And so I do think that's important. How you carry yourself, that assertiveness, that proactiveness, that level of confidence, it matters. So I can't believe I'm talking about posture in a commencement speech, but it does matter. Another one who happens to be at the Air Force Academy now. Apparently, I told him on a number of occasions, and these are probably not the words I used, but I will just synopsize it to say, don't be a jerk. And that kind of leads me into the next point I'd like to make as we move forward in bettering the world. Integrity and character, your words, your behaviors matter. It's one of the few things that no one can take away from you, but it's very important to guard your reputation wisely. It's tough to get it back, but it's not impossible. So how you behave matters. I read the strength of the nation is derived from the integrity of the home. And I think that's so true and so important, although I think it may have come from a fortune cookie, but sadly, those kinds of concepts are not, I don't believe, as widely discussed as they once were. Makes me sad. TV shows honor manipulation instead of teamwork. And so as you progress, I think it would help not only you and your teams, but the nation as a whole, if those are the kind of character traits that you teach, require from your people. A good leader is a good listener and a follower. You cannot do it alone. So collaborating matters. As an aircraft commander in an emergency situation, the final decision was mine, but I absolutely at all times wanted to know the thoughts, the inputs from the entire crew as we went forward and decided how we were going to handle that emergency. So surround yourself with bright and insightful people. I'm asking you all to have a critical awareness of yourself as you go through life and you perceive actions of others. Two issues that I actually would consider myself, I will say, emphasize, although some might say I harp on them, because I think they're so critical. Civil discourse. I challenge you, and frankly, as a former member of the Board of Trustees and an alumni of Scholastica, I actually expect that you show the way and you expect civil discourse from others. Disagreement with someone on an issue does not make them an enemy. You look them in the eye, you listen, you may learn something from them, and even if you still continue to disagree with them, it helps you build a strategy around the issue. It also makes the world a much more pleasant place if there's some means of trusting those around you, whether it's at work, your neighborhood, or globally. Empathy is another. Stand in someone else's shoes. It's a difficult thing to do on a daily basis. We're all busy. You don't think about it. There is, from a time constraint, I won't go into great detail here, but I would recommend that you look up, it's a commencement speech actually from David Foster Wallace, and he talks about empathy. I definitely wanted to talk about it, but I found some of his more detailed discussions about it very interesting. Please find a way to serve the greater good. I promise it'll bring more goodness into your life and the world. And if you have a chance to better the life of someone else, that's when your personal story actually gets really good too. Accountability. This is huge. Take care of your people. I'm lumping that in there, along with be responsible for your own actions. Quickly there, actually, this gentleman is in Duluth, now. He is retired and settled there. But when I lived in Europe, I was in a flying squadron in Europe, and the schoolhouse where people had to go back, he was going back to be an instructor. And so he was going to be back in the United States for, I believe, around 6 weeks. Well, he had a wife and 2 young children there in Germany. And so while he was gone, I would just check in on her, see if there's anything she needed. Something as simple as doing laundry when the laundry room was 3 stories down and you've got 2 toddlers is not a simple thing to do. So that willingness to be considerate of the concerns of the people in your team helps. It helps them trust, and it helps build that team that is always going to benefit your goals. There may be times when you need to, one, either learn a lesson from the way something is handled or stand up to your boss. So 2 scenarios very quickly. First is there's a tradition, which I will go into no detail on, in the military for your first equator crossing. And something happened, and it was a scenario where I saw that I would have handled something completely differently as opposed to how it was handled above me. There was another time when there was a 4-star general that was wanted us to do some, he wanted us to take off in weather that wouldn't have been wise to take off given our constraints of the radar on the aircraft, those kinds of things. And so there were a number of times with this 4-star general where I actually had to stand up and say, hey, sir, we can't do that, or here's what I am doing to make that happen, but I can't do what you're asking. And I would say, here's why I can't. Or here's what we can do. Would you be interested in doing that? And so this is a general that we had a number of those kind of exchanges over about 1.5 years. But that general, when it came time for me to have another assignment, absolutely was supportive because I knew what I was talking about, and I stood up for not only my people, but the right thing to do. And so it will serve you well, and you can still look in the mirror when you're done with that scenario. You never know what doors will open for you if you work hard and you're prepared. Challenge yourself, be bold. My entire career, past being a nurse, fits into this category. I did hear someone say once, bite off more than you can chew and then chew like hell. So I kind of like that. I do believe that there is likely a time where you will stumble. Life's going to hit you with a brick or 2, and how you handle that demonstrates the quality of your character. It's not a failure. And even if you did do something wrong, inappropriate, it may feel bad, but mourn, learn from it, and move on. Talent and intelligence do not inoculate you from failure. And I also believe that rock bottom can also be a solid foundation with which to build upon. Okay, so lightning round, getting there. Mentoring, find one, then be one as you gain experience. Write handwritten notes whenever possible. It just means that to me, it's an art that's dwindling, and I'm encouraging you to keep it going. Timing is everything. I had a scenario where I applied for a job at the White House. And although I made the final 2 people, I didn't have a background or an experience that they were looking for specifically. But fast forward, I think 5 to 6 years, and I ended up being selected for the boss of that entire office and then some within the White House. Maya Angelou said once, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. I also think that leadership requires foresight and anticipation of problems. And you really are better off if you can look at the second and third order effects of the implications of your decisions or the strategies that you're contemplating. Okay, so time's closing. I was in Wisconsin actually for Thanksgiving, and I was explaining to someone what that piece of equipment was, and it happened to be a manure spreader. And so I'm realizing that I am relating to that now. I feel like I've been spreading my insights around in hopes of fertilizing those young and slightly more mature minds and dreams alike. I guess I'll leave you with some final words, just because this guy's fun. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. That's Theodore Geisel, otherwise known as Dr. Seuss, in Other Places You Will Go. I guess I just want to say, I wish you the very best as you take the spot in a long line of 26,000 St. Scholastica graduates. Carry yourself well. I couldn't be more proud to be a fellow alum and a citizen with you. One of the last things, given the odd times of this year and the limitations that COVID has brought to the world, frankly, I really want you to think about this. Do not be the class that was denied, but rather be the class that will not be denied. You've gone through some tough times. Take that intellectual rigor, your kindness, what you've learned at Scholastica, and blend that with your unique skill set. Go forth, have fun, lead, and if you get to DC, don't hesitate to look me up. I wish you all the best. Thank you for this honor.
I would like to thank Marcy Stanke for her remarks and present her with a great degree of gratitude and this plaque. The inscription reads, "Whereas Marcy Stanke exemplifies the Benedictine values of respect and hospitality in her work as principal at MRC Consulting and Advocacy, treating all persons with dignity and promoting their participation in the decisions affecting their lives. And whereas Marcy demonstrated the Benedictine values of love of learning and stewardship through her exemplary service as a member of the College of St. Scholastica Board of Trustees. And whereas Marcy epitomizes the Benedictine value of community in her generous volunteer activities on behalf of agencies and organizations throughout the world and while serving in the United States Armed Services. And whereas Marcy supports the college's vision to send forth thoughtful leaders, sharpened and sensitized by the liberal arts, who are committed to serve and to transform the world. Therefore, in recognition of her many contributions to the College of St. Scholastica, the Board of Trustees hereby conveys upon Marcy Stanke a great degree of gratitude on this 19th day of December, 2020.
Our student speaker today is Andrew Bailey, who graduated in spring 2020 with a Bachelor of Arts in History and Theology and Religious Studies. While attending CSS, Andrew was extremely active on campus. He served as the Student Senate President. He was a member of the Saints cross-country running and Nordic ski teams, an active member of campus ministry, the North Star Reports, and the College of St. Scholastica History and Politics Club. Andrew was also an active member of the Duluth community, serving as a volunteer at Snowflake Nordic Ski Center and Myers-Wilkins Elementary School Collaborative. Andrew was inducted into the Minnesota Private College Council Phillips Scholar Program, and he was nominated and won the college's Student Leadership Award. Andrew is currently attending St. John's Seminary in Boston, Massachusetts. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Bailey.
CSS Class of 2020, it is my profound honor to join you today as we celebrate the accomplishments of the Class of 2020. Our class will undoubtedly go down in the history books as a class known for its perseverance, determination, and above all, our proficiency with Zoom and pretty much every known video conferencing platform. As we graduate today, we meet a troubled world, but our training and studies at the College of St. Scholastica have prepared us to confront these challenges head on and turn these challenges into opportunities. We have been sharpened by our courses in the liberal arts and the Benedictine values give us a blueprint for how to live out the knowledge we have gained over the past years as students at CSS. It is clear to me now more than ever, the world needs saints. The world needs leaders who will act as visionaries and chart a new course for the businesses, nonprofits, religious organizations, hospitals, and other fields that employers are fortunate to place a CSS graduate. What makes a graduate of the College of St. Scholastica unique? I believe it is the values of hospitality, stewardship, community, respect, and love of learning that we have seamlessly incorporated into our lives through the example of our professors, peers, staff at CSS, as well as the paragon of the Benedictine Sisters of the St. Scholastica Monastery, who perfectly model these virtues. Our neighborhoods, families, and workplaces will be better because of these values. One question the global health crisis has prompted each one of us would be, what is most important in my life? I think the answer to this question is quite straightforward. Friendship, family, faith, our colleagues, mentors, professors, and looking out for those in our community most in need. In other words, it's our relationships. We have realized that we rely on other people, and the deprivation of face-to-face interaction is something we as humans struggle with. Over our years at CSS, we made many great memories and friends during Harry Potter Week, at club meetings, athletic events, theatrical performances, peace and justice lectures, First Friday donuts in the Senate office, and even, of course, late nights out on the town in Duluth and late night study sessions. Although we now part separate ways, I hope this is not the last we see of each other. Let's not simply let these memories fade. My hope is that the class of 2020 is the most connected class in our college's history, and that our friendships last a lifetime. I know we can do this. I wish you all great success, Godspeed, and as always, Viva St. Scholastica.
Now we will hear from Susan Coring, class of 1973, President of the Alumni Association Board.
Congratulations to all. As President of the Alumni Association Board, it is my privilege to welcome you as the newest members of a group numbering over 31,000 alumni. As time goes by, this college and your experience of it will bring a sense of recognition to you and also be a lifelong connection for you. There are many ways we can stay in touch with the people, the places, and the spirit of the college. I hope that St. Scholastica will always be a home away from home for you. You are saints for life. Welcome, fellow alumni.
God of light and hope, we thank you for the gift each of our graduates has been for our community and how they have touched our lives. We celebrate their achievements and pray that each will continue to listen with the ear of their heart for the ways our world needs their unique gifts and passions. Graduates, in the days ahead, may you have confidence and joy in who you are and who you are becoming. May you live our Benedictine values, and may you always know your place in our community of saints. Amen.
Dr. McDonald, it is my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled have qualified in all respects for the Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science degree by successfully completing curricula offered by the academic departments of the College of St. Scholastica and have been recommended by the Faculty Assembly and the Board of Trustees to be entitled to all rights, privileges, and honors as well as the obligations and responsibilities pertaining thereunto. Dr. McDonald, it is also my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled have qualified in all respects for degrees by successfully completing the graduate curricula offered by the College of St. Scholastica, and have been recommended by the Faculty Assembly and the Board of Trustees to be entitled to all rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the obligations and responsibilities pertaining to the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Education, Master of Business Administration, Master of Social Work, Doctor of Nursing Practice, or Doctor of Physical Therapy.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the College of St. Scholastica, I do hereby confer upon our undergraduates the degree of Bachelor of Arts and/or Bachelor of Science for which you have qualified with all attendant honors, privileges, and responsibilities. For our graduate students, I do hereby confer upon you the degree for which you have qualified: Master of Arts, Master of Business Administration, Master of Education, Master of Science, Master of Social Work, Doctor of Nursing Practice, and Doctor of Physical Therapy, with all attendant honors, privileges, and responsibilities. All graduates, you may move your tassel from the right to the left side. Join me in congratulating these graduates and wishing them well in their next chapter of life. And at this time, and with grateful hearts, we also pay tribute to the many who are in large part responsible for the very success we celebrate today. We honor those who have devoted years of guidance, encouragement, sacrifice, love, and financial support that brought our students to this day. Thank you to the faculty members who guided these graduates' learning experiences. You have played a tremendous role in launching our graduates forward. Thank you to the parents and guardians of these graduates for the guidance and love you have provided over the years. Thank you to all the spouses and children of these graduates, extended family members, loved ones, friends of these graduates, all of whom have been such great supporters. You are all part of the family of saints who have made this day possible. Congratulations, graduates. Blessings and best wishes as you begin your next adventure.